Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam. Um Now you might be wondering what you're looking at. Sam is he trying to talk about Bitcoin as related to the Bible or the 10 commandment of Bitcoin? No. So this is a cool art made by Cointelegraph. So today we'll be talking about Bitcoin covenant, right? And this is a word you hear from Christian in you know covenant keeping God. There are a lot of uh you know passage in the Bible that talks about covenant, or that uses the word covenant. So I believe that's why this is really cool. So what are Bitcoin covenants and how do they work? That's what we're talking about in this video today. So if you're watching this video while driving, just make sure you keep driving. You don't need to look at the screen. Right, so I'm going to explain everything you need to know as simple as it's supposed to be. But just in case you have access to press your phone or your laptop while watching this video, make sure you watch this video first. I did a video about Bitcoin taproot. What is Bitcoin taproot, right? So you should learn about Bitcoin taproot. I like Bitcoin taproot. I love the upgrade. So you want to know what that is, make sure you watch this video. So what are Bitcoin covenants? So in one sentence, right, just in case you're in a hurry and just want to know what it is, Bitcoin taproot is an upgrade that it's a proposal update for Bitcoin network to have some form of restriction. I don't know if restriction is too much of a strong word when it comes to this decentralization, but a form of restriction in the way Bitcoin transactions are transferred. I hope I did that explanation well in one sentence. But let's just read through, right? So, what are covenants? A covenant is used in private. No, let me not go through that. So, okay, let me read. A covenant is used in private property law as a contract to restrict an object's use, right? So you have there's an object, right? So you can restrict how the object will be used, right? For example, let's say you have a house, right? So the house has 4 entrances. So you can enter through the main door that is facing the road. You can enter through the kitchen. You can enter through the laundry. Maybe different access. Maybe you can enter through the roof. All right. So you built this house and made all the necessary entrances, if there's any word like that are available to enter the house. So these 4 entrances, you now say, okay, the main entrance, which is the that leads to the living room or the parlor or the okay, it's popularly known as the living room. So the main entrance, you now say, okay, for this particular house, I don't want people going through, into the house through the living room. I want them to go through the kitchen entrance. Right, so the house is that object, and you're restricting how that object can be used. So, but that's when it comes to property law, that is what covenant is. For example, of course I'm reading from the material right now. For example, the interdiction to extend a building or change a facade's color. If you don't know what that means, it's fine. So since Bitcoin is private property, the term covenant seems perfectly fitted to indicate restrictions on its transaction. You have ownership of the property, but you're limited to what the property can do. So let me relate it to Bitcoin so you can understand. So right now, right, so someone can send you Bitcoin, you can receive Bitcoin, but with this upgrade, if it's ever done or implemented, right, there are some Bitcoin you cannot receive. Not because your wallet cannot handle the size, no, but because that Bitcoin, the property of that Bitcoin has been changed, right? The UTXO property has been changed or covered up, right? So let's just read on. Specifically, Bitcoin covenant proposal restrict how a coin can be spent after you bought it. Let's say you have a Bitcoin in your wallet, right? So you have this Bitcoin, and then you've now restricted how the Bitcoin can be sent. You can put a restriction and say this Bitcoin can only be sent to XYZ address. If this Bitcoin is, if you want to send this Bitcoin outside this address that I've specified to, let the Bitcoin transaction not go through. In as much as that is good for security, because you you can say, okay, I'm locking my Bitcoin. I want to keep this Bitcoin for 10 years. And if for any reason this Bitcoin gets stolen and the hacker tries to transfer it, let the transfer be only done to this wallet, which is another wallet that belongs to you. Cannot be transferred to another wallet. That is a good security feature. Yes, we all know. But all right, moving on. So, can Bitcoin be improved? Right. So, this Bitcoin covenant is a proposal, and proposals in Bitcoin is called, BIPs. Right. So, Bitcoin BIP means Bitcoin improvement proposal. For Ethereum, it's called EIP. Ethereum improvement proposal, right? So they have different versions, EIP 115 or BIP 114, and blah blah blah. So covenants are included in Bitcoin improvement proposals, right? The upgrade, that means the proposal has already been made already, right? So the upgrade and improvement process Bitcoin, what improvement process Bitcoin undergoes to modify, blah 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 blah. Moving on. How do Bitcoin covenants work? I think I've already explained how the Bitcoin covenant works, and I also mentioned UTXO. So UTXO stands for Bitcoin unspent transaction output, right? So what are the advantages of covenants, right? I've already explained the advantage. How that you, let's say you have a wallet, a Bitcoin you're keeping for a long term. You can say, in case my wallet is stolen, this Bitcoin should not be able to be sent to any other wallet apart from my own wallet, right? So that's the advantage. So what are the drawbacks? The negative impacts, right? It increases censorship, right? So excuse me. So assuming you send your coin to a wallet, right? And that wallet is regulated by let's say by the United States, and then United States of America now says, we don't want this guy to be able to send. We want all our citizens, every United States citizens, or every Nigerian that has that has Bitcoin in your wallet to be able to be, what am I saying? They shouldn't be able to send Bitcoin to an address that is outside this. It just increases censorship, right? And the painful part is that this censorship is directly linked on chain, right? So it leads to blacklisting and censorship and confiscation of Bitcoin. That in a whole also kills Bitcoin's decentralization. So fungibility threats. Covenants might interfere with Bitcoin's fungibility. What is that? The ability of each Bitcoin to be identical in function. Now, remember I said that it will create different kinds of Bitcoin. Bitcoins that are, okay, let me just read. Bitcoin that have restrictions and Bitcoins that don't have restrictions. So the free Bitcoin and the restricted Bitcoin, right? So while useful for security and scalability, yep, covenants would change the properties of specific Bitcoin units, essentially creating different types of digital currency, distinct according to what, I don't know what I'm reading there. As a result, those who oppose the change argue that limiting how you can spend your Bitcoin will ultimately limit Bitcoin's use case as a digital currency. So personally, I'm not in favor of Bitcoin covenants, right? Although I love the Bitcoin Taproot update because it brings about, security and privacy to Bitcoin transaction, and that is what people are enjoying in Monero and Litecoin Mimblewimble. Although Litecoin Mimblewimble is an optional opt-in feature, right? But it's good, and I don't know if I've done a video on Litecoin Mimblewimble, but if I haven't, I would check and I'll do a video on that. All right, guys, that is all I have to say on Bitcoin covenants. Is a good feature, but I don't think it should be implemented in the main Bitcoin core, right? Someone can fork the Bitcoin code and implement that here. That is fine. But for Bitcoin, I think it should remain as it is. If there's any upgrade I want to see on Bitcoin, is the increase of its block size. But of course, there's a debate about that, and that is how we have Bitcoin Cash, which is a bigger block size of what Bitcoin is right now. All right, if you learned something new in this video, please do make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video. See ya.